All right. Today I am going to do a video about Palmer Hayden and the Alpha Kappa Alpha, also known as the AKA Sorority. So if you guys are interested and you want to check out my channel, make sure you hit the notification bell, hit the subscription, and log on to Tiffany L. French. That's my channel, Tiffany L. French. All right, you can check me out on YouTube, hit the subscription, and also you can share this channel. You can do all that great stuff. So this video is going to be about Palmer Hayden, who was an artist, and also the Alpha Kappa Alpha. So what I want to do, I'm going to present the picture of, I'm going to start with Palmer Hayden first. I'm going to go into his biography, and then I'm going to present his artworks and stuff like that. So to get an idea of who he is, here's the picture. All right, so that's a picture of Palmer Hayden. So now let me go ahead and get started with his biography. All right, you see? All right, Palmer Hayden. Who is Palmer Hayden? So Palmer Hayden was born on January 15th of 1890, which is today, and he died on February 18th of 1973. He was an American painter who depicted African American life, landscape, seascapes, and African influences. He sketched painting in both oils and watercolors and was a prolific artist of his era. Now, he was originally named Peyton Cole Hedgeman, and he was born, of course, on January 15th of 1890 in Whitewater, Virginia. Hayden was introduced to arts by his older brother, who took up drawing at an early age. Despite his early interest in art, Hayden had ambitions to become a fiddle player. Unfortunately, several obstacles prevent this, including his reserved nature and financial instability in his family. Despite his great success as an artist, Hayden would later come to regret his decision to abandon his initial dream. Bitter frustration lingered in Hayden's mind, as is reflected in some of his work. Midnight at the Crossroads is a painting that depicts the decision he was forced to make, while the notable tilt of his feet and face illustrate his inclination towards the path of the musician. He ultimately chooses the other road. These pieces demonstrate the personal significance of Hayden's conflicts. And so later on, he moved to Washington, D.C. during his teenage years in order to find work to make a living. He worked as a carrier and errand boy while finding inspiration for his work from the everyday bustle of the city. It was Washington, D.C., where Hayden ultimately began to pursue an art career and where he first encountered an experience with explicit racism. Hayden had placed an ad in a local paper for an artist assistant and was bewildered when he was rejected for being African American upon arriving at the interview. Discouraged, Hayden decided to go into employment as a laborer for the Buffalo Bill Circus and then the Wrangling Brothers Circus. He bounced from occupation to occupation with little commitment, then decided to enter the Army's Black Company station in the Philippines. All right. So just like many African American males, he was enlisted to the military in 1912. While enrolled, he found himself pleased with the amount of spare time he had and even found a tutor in Second Lieutenant Arthur Boucher, who enjoyed map drawing and would often loosely instruct Hayden. This was Hayden's first true experience with artistic education. After 4 years of service in the military, Hayden decided to re-enlist. He was assigned to the 10th Cavalry at West Point, where his role was taking care and training the horses that the cadets learned to ride on. At this time, he also enrolled into a correspondence drawing course on which he spent $10 of the $18 he had, or $18 he made monthly. After he was discharged from the military, he relocated to Greenwich Village, a neighborhood located in Lower Manhattan within New York City. During the pursuit of his developing art career, he worked as a postal clerk, janitor, and a variety of other part-time jobs in order to provide for himself. This period of his life was difficult, but it was nevertheless worthwhile as Hayden became a prolific Harlem artist of his era. So let's look at his artistic beginning. So I'm just going to read this first paragraph. It says, Hayden pursued artistic professionalism by studying charcoal drawing at Columbia University as he simultaneously worked nights at the post office. When Hayden decided his post office job took up too much of his time, he quit and began janitorial services in various apartment buildings throughout New York City. Coincidentally, the first tenant he worked for was Victor Pillar, an artist and an art instructor at the Cooper Union, previously called the Cooper Institution. Hayden was hired to clean Payard's studio and was encouraged to continue to develop his art. All right. And so in 1925, Hayden had an incredible opportunity to study under Payard at the Cooper Union in New York City. In the same year, he traveled to Maine to study at Boothbay Art Colony. A chance encounter with Alice Dyke, a woman for whom he was moving furniture, led to the discussion of art and his experience as an artist. All right. So let's go down. Let's go down right to here. Hayden's success with the Harmon Foundation allowed the existence of his premiere solo show in April 1926 at the Civic Club. Following his achievements, Hayden combined accumulated funds as well as his trophy money from the Harmon Foundation and a gracious gift of $3,000 from Dyke to travel Paris, France for 5 years, where he found further inspiration for his art. He did not enroll in an art school but rather learn from experience. Hayden captured not only the Parisian society, but also the integration of Afro-European in the upscale environment. He was mentioned for a short while by an artist named Clavel Lefevre, but ultimately the relationship ended because of Lefevre's disbelief in Hayden's talents. Hayden's years in Paris, as well as his arguably primitive style, is particularly evident in the 1930 piece No Cadre et Paris, which portrays 4 black men in a cafe, drawn with a stereotypically large lip and cartoonish facial features to emphasize characteristically black features that were shunned and often seen as revolting as a result of the discourse from white beauty. All right, so we're going to go down to here where it says return, racial commentary, and stylistics. All right. After 5 years abroad, traveling with funds borrowed from the American Aid Society of Paris, a nonprofit organization meant to support Americans abroad, Hayden decided to return to the U.S. on August 11, 1932. He remained in New York City, where he lived before going abroad, and upon his return, he became a work progress administration artist with an impressive salary of about $30 weekly, which that was a lot of money back then. In contrast to his active involvement with African culture, racism abroad, Hayden painted mostly buildings and landscapes at this time. In his free time, he continued with oil and watercolor paintings, but also dabbed in pen and ink drawing. His artwork is most notable for depicting African American life during the Harlem Renaissance, as well as racial conflicts / obstacles, perception of racism, and African folklore. His paintings have been described by some critics as primitive and demeaning for depicting xenophobic stereotypes of African Americans by exaggerating bosoms, lips, and nostrils, and portraying the mass consumption of watermelon, and other foods associated with Black racism. As in the watermelon race, other art historians find some of the earliest indication of Black empowerment in Hayden's work for his ownership and embracement of defying stereotype that regurgitated at critics through their exaggerated impact. All right. So anyways, I'm skipping down. As you can see, this is why I'm quiet a little bit. These particular scenes often held a religious significance for him, which was not further elaborated on by Hayden. Additionally, as his comfort with the artistic community grew, he offered a political voice in paintings, and in 1935, he depicted the execution of NRA, which referenced the Supreme Court's refusal to the National Industrial Recovery Act on the grounds of unconstitutionality. Hayden branched out artistically, became more evident as his work became more outspoken and experimental. All right. So basically, his artwork was not just the form of beauty, but his artwork was also a form of expression. It made a lot of political statement, gave commentaries. So for individuals who enjoy art, such as myself, art goes beyond the look. It deals with expression. There's a saying goes, art imitates. Hold on, let me take that back. Life imitates art, or is either art imitate life, one of them. So basically, art is a reflection of life. Let's just put it that way. And with that being said, because art is a reflection of life, art explains life in a more abstract form. So it has a lot of abstract meaning. So you may not get the meaning right off the top, but you have to really look at it from a principle and really think about it. You know what I'm saying? So once you start thinking, you'll just be like, oh, now it makes a lot more sense. So art can be used in various forms. It doesn't necessarily just use in painting and drawing. It can be used in dancing. It can be used in music. It's also used in fashion, because fashion is a form of art. It's an art expression that expresses a person's individuality and how they perceive themselves. So sometimes you could tell a lot about a person how they dress. Sometimes, just sometimes, but not all the time. I know AKA is pink and green. You're saying that because I don't know why you're telling me that. AKA is pink and green. I know that. Yeah, but the topic is not about AKA. I'll do them once I get done with this initial topic. Oh, okay. I know it's pink and green. Why? Anyways, getting back to the point. So as I was saying before, that art is just another form of expression, how a person express themselves. Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought you just told me that was pink and green. I'm like, okay, yo, okie dokie. But my bad. I didn't know that's your way of saluting. That's the way of greeting. I'm sorry. I was speaking to the person in the chat room. Sorry about that. But anyways, back to what I was saying before. Yes, art is a form of expression, and you just is now express yourself socially or aesthetically or yeah, or emotionally, but more so politically as well. So it was always used in a political role, especially like, for example, in hip hop. Hip hop graffiti is the art. It is a representation of the culture in itself. So when you see the graffiti symbol, you see like the dancing, you see the DJing symbol, you see all that. That's just the expression of the environment that we have created as a people. So that's just all it is. It's all expression. That's it. That's all. Yep. But anyways, let's go back to the article. All right. All right. So down here it says, one of Hayden's most prolific work came in 1937 when he created the iconic alleged narrative, The Janitor Who Paints. This painting, labeled a protest painting à la de execution of Nera, was thought by critics to be a personal commentary on Hayden's sentiments regarding the assorted mingery paid early jobs he had to take in order to survive, that he was criticized for in the press. Despite his success and popularity not only in America but also in Europe, Hayden was still regarded by some as lowly janitor who had little to no artistic training and worth. In this painting, an African-American woman, man, and child are depicted in a crowded area, which is made even more stifled by a canvas, cleaning supplies, and simple home decoration. All three are shown with thick, prominent lips, characteristic of caricature of African people, and in the first draft, a bold portrait of Abraham Lincoln was hung on the wall. The title of the painting, as well as the contrast of cleaning supplies and art material, imply a balance such as the one that existed in Hayden's own life before he was recognized for his work. Inevitably, Hayden was scrutinized by both the Black and white community as problematic for seemingly endorsing negative stereotypes in this painting as well. Damn. So now go down to the part where it says the age Hayden. 10 years after his initial visit in 1926, Hayden returned to Paris briefly. Little else is known about this visit. He was back in New York within a year, and at the age of 50, he married Miriam Huffman. He decided in 1944 to begin a new project, which resulted in a 3-year effort that culminated his most fulfilling works, the John Henry series. The idea was rooted in a legend he had been told in childhood by his father, and he took on researching the legitimacy of the folktale, drawing inspiration to integrate into his art. Any other explanations for why Hayden felt so strongly about John Henry and the series as a whole are unclear and unspecified, but are most likely linked to his proud ties to the African American community. In his elder years, Hayden contributed to being active with his art, regularly being selected for prestigious art awards and traveling between Paris and the United States to fuel his inspiration. Racism remained a relevant topic in his life and art, leading him to publicly speak out against racist policies hindering the African American and Hispanic communities. An example of this was seen in 1966 when Hayden wrote to William Booth, the chairman of the City Commission on Human Rights, regarding the advocacy for an equal number of African Americans, Latino, and white people on the board to prevent mistreatment fueled by prejudice and power. Hayden died on February 18, 1973, shortly after receiving a grant to depict Negro soldiers between the world wars. That's it. If you guys want to see the reference, there's the reference at the bottom of the page. There's the external links at the bottom. And here's the notes right here. If you guys want to look more into it or whatnot. All right, so here's a picture of Palmer Hayden. That's Palmer Hayden right there. That's another one. And I want to show some of his artworks real fast. All right, so that's one of his, this is his artwork right here. Okay, this is another one of his artwork. A beautiful one. I think this one's very unique to show that it's a person that's painting a picture or a portrait of a mother and child. That's beautiful. All right, and this is the picture of African Americans in the community, in the neighborhood, the black neighborhood. You see the man playing the little bajango, little guitar. Mother with the children. All right. Here it is. Had to put it up close. It's a beautiful artwork, very beautiful. Okay. So that's all for Mr. Palmer Hayden. Now, the next one I am going to do is the Alpha Kappa Alpha, which was founded on this day, of January the 15th in 1908. All right, so I'm going to look into their biography. All right. All right, so if you guys can see that picture, that's the Kappa Alpha. A picture of a woman in a hat. I think, see, one thing I know is about the AKAs, they're a little bit more, I wouldn't say they're a little bit more, I wouldn't say they bougie, but they're a little bit more like elegant class. You know what I'm saying? Like they're more like conservative type of sorority. That's what I noticed. They're a little bit more conservative. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong by my perception, but that's just what I'm seeing. Just like how like they do their steps and how they stand and whatnot. It's like they're more conservative type, whereas the other ones are a little bit more contemporary, kind of liberal in a sense. That's just my opinion, you know. But I could be wrong. You know, I could be very wrong. All right, so that's the Alpha Kappa Alpha, and this is their picture right here. All right, so here's a picture. And here's the biography here. Again. Let's see. All right. You see, there's the little gold medal or like a little bronze medal here. All right. Now let's go ahead and get started. So they've been around for 112 years, and their color is pink and green. All right. Their symbol is ivy leaf, and the flower is pink tea rose. Okay. So, who is the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority? They is the first historically African American Greek letter sorority. The organization was founded on 5 basic tenets: to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, to promote unity and friendships among college women, to study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in color, to improve their social stature, to maintain a progressive interest in college life, and to be of service to all mankind. Okay. All right. So again, they was founded on this day at the historically black college, Howard University. So Howard University is basically the foundation of these sororities and fraternity organization. It's the main foundation. So that's where most of them were found, right here at Howard University. Okay. By a group of 16 students led by Ethel Hedgeman Lai. Forming a sorority broke barriers for African American women in areas where they had little power or authority due to a lack of opportunities for minorities and women in the early 20th century. Alpha Kappa Alpha was incorporated on January 29, 1913. The sorority is one of the nation's largest Greek letter organization, consisting of college-educated women of many diverse backgrounds from all over the world. It serves throughout a membership more than 300,000 in 1,024 chapters in the United States and several other countries. Women may join through undergraduate chapters at a college or university, or they may also join through a graduate chapter after acquiring an undergraduate or advanced college degree. Okay. Since the organization establishment, Alpha Kappa Alpha has helped to improve social and economic condition through community service programs. Members have improved education through independent initiatives, contribute to community building by creating programs and associations such as the Mississippi Health Clinic, and influence federal legislation by congressional lobby through the National Nonpartisan Lobby on Civil and Democratic Rights. The sorority works with communities through service initiatives and progressive programs relating to education, family, health, and business. Alpha Kappa Alpha is part of the National Pan-Hellenic Council. The current international president is Dr. Glenda Glover, and the sorority's document and pictorial archives are located at Moreland Spingard Research Center. All right, so there's a picture of where the Alpha Kappa Foundation was. So it says Main Hall and Minor Hall in 1868. Minor Hall is located to the left. Minor Hall was the site of Alpha Kappa Alpha's founding on January 15th. The building was demolished in 1961. Wow. Okay. So right here in the beginnings, it goes in the spring of 1907. Ethel Hedgeman led efforts to create a sisterhood at Howard University. Howard faculty member Ethel Robinson encouraged Hedgeman by relaying her own observance of sorority life at the Women's College at Brown University, even though she was not a member of any sorority while a student at Brown. Hedgeman was also inspired by her mentors at Howard to implement her idea. Hedgeman began recruiting interest classmates during the summer of 1907. Eventually, 9 women, including Hedgeman, were instrumental in organizing Alpha Kappa Alpha in the fall of 1907, with Hedgeman serving as a temporary chairperson. The women wrote the sorority constitution, devised the motto, chose the favorite colors, and the name and named the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. Okay. Later in 1908, 7 sophomore honor students expressed interest in joining and were accepted without initiation. All right. So the first initiation was held in a wing of Minor Hall on Howard University on February 11, 1909. On May 25th, 1909, Alpha Kappa Alpha held its first Ivy Week, a celebration that included planting ivy at Minor Hall. All right. So here's their certificate. That was in 1921, certificate of membership from Gamma chapter of the University of Illinois at Urbana, Champaign. All right, so there's a certificate. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's go further down. You know, and it was funny. So just 2 days ago, right, on January 13th, the Delta Sigma Theta was founded. All right. So some of those members that was in the Delta, they were a part of the AKA organization. They were a part of the AKA organization, and they decided that they wanted to have their own chapter or their own sorority. So they wanted to change the name of AKA to the Delta Sigma, but some of them opposed it and said, you know what, we're going to keep this name. And that's what we agreed upon. So some members just decided to quietly leave and create their own version, which is the Delta Sigma Theta. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go further down. So it says Alpha Kappa Alpha continued to grow nationally. A second chapter at the University of Chicago was chartered in fall of 1913. In addition, Alpha Kappa Alpha helped to support members by providing scholarship funds for school and foreign studies. Alpha Kappa Alpha began to unite members at the annual Boule, the sorority's governing body. The sorority pledge was written by Grace Edward and was adopted by the 1920 Boule. In addition, the sorority's crest was designed by Phyllis Willie Waters and accepted in the same Boule. And a year later, at the 1921 Boule, the ivy leaf was designated as the official organ of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And Founders Week, paying honor to the Alpha, aka founders, was established. Pearls were first introduced to the sorority in the same year. The sorority membership pin was accepted in the following Boule in Kansas City, Missouri. At the 1947 Boules, pins for honorary members were designed and approved. On May the 10th of 1930, Alpha Kappa Alpha, along with the fraternities Kappa Alpha Psi and Omega Psi Phi and sorority Delta Sigma Theta and Zeta Phi Beta, formed the National Pan-Hellenic Council at Howard University, currently consisting of 9 predominant Black fraternities and sorority. NPHC promotes interaction through forums, meetings, and other mediums for the exchange of information and engages in cooperative programming and initiative through various activities and functions. All right, so that's the picture of the ivy leaf right here. All right, so in April of 1933, during the Great Depression, International President Ida Jackson visited All Saints Industrial School in Lexington, Mississippi. She found the difficult condition in the Mississippi Delta Mississippi Delta is part of Louisiana, part of Arkansas, and majority of Mississippi that's located on the northwest. That's the Mississippi Delta. But anyways, some of the teachers did not have an education past the 7th grade. African Americans were trying to make a living sharecropping on plantation land as agricultural prices continued to fall. And so in summer of 1934, Ida Jackson initiated the summer school for rural teachers to train future teachers. She worked with a total of 22 student teachers and 243 school children. In addition, she held night classes for 48 adults. By obtaining 2,600 books for the school's library, Jackson made it the largest library owned by white or color in all Holmes County. All right, and in the summer of 1938, Ida Jackson focused on poverty and established a regional health clinic. She had acquired $1,000 from the Boule to fund the project in December of 1935. The clinic evolved into the Mississippi Health Projects with Dr. Dorothy Bolden Faribi appointed as the director. All right, so the Mississippi Health Project brought primary medical care to the rural Black population across the state for 6 summers. The program had been recognized as the first mobile health clinic in the United States, assisting approximately 15,000 people in the Mississippi Delta. The project was noted for helping to decrease cases diphtheria and smallpox in the region and to improve nutritional and dental practices throughout rural Mississippi. Yep. So let me talk a little bit about Mississippi. Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the United States. So when you go to places, like if you go to Mississippi, or if you ever seen Mississippi on television, right, you know it's like they hoods look like a country town, sort of. Like the hoods look like they real country. It is like it's a country state, just put it like that. And the towns are pretty much country, even the capital, Jackson. But Mississippi happened to be one of the poorest states. Like one of the poorest states. So with that being said, by it being one of them, you know, there's a lot of financial difficulties, and it really impacts a lot on the African American community out there. So you'll find out there's a lot more poverty taking place in that state. And then just part of the Mississippi Delta, anyhow, again, like I said, you know, Arkansas is part of it and Louisiana is part of it. So some people might find it hard to believe that Louisiana is considered one of the poorest states, but, you know, because New Orleans is popping, but outside New Orleans, it's the rest of them, they like country towns, you know what I'm saying? New Orleans is like the main city that a lot of people will go to, but the rest is just like really the country town. So it's, yeah. It's the same way, even though Georgia is not a poor state, but Atlanta is the main attraction in Georgia. You know, Atlanta being the capital. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the metro Atlanta, the suburban areas, right? And you got the upper class community. So when you come to Atlanta, it's like you in a whole nother world. But once you leave Atlanta, you go to other cities that's like hours away, further south, like Augusta, Columbus, or maybe Macon, or even Savannah, somewhere like that. It's like you enter into a country town. So, and that's just how it is with most southern states, you know, like further down south. That's just how it really is. But yeah, again, Mississippi and Louisiana and Arkansas, and I think Alabama happened to be one of the poorest states, or the top poorest states in the United States. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, so are you an Alpha Phi Alpha, Anthony? Mm. So Anthony, are you an Alpha Phi Alpha? Okay, cool. That's what's up. Cool. All right, because I remember you told me that you were one, but I think, yeah, I remember you told me you was in the fraternity, but I had forgot which one it was. But yeah, I just wanted to just talk about a little bit about Mississippi. So yeah, it's very interesting they brought Mississippi, and it's a lot of history. When we talk about Black history, it's a lot of history that went on with the Mississippi Delta. A lot of Black history. We talking about it goes beyond not just racism, but just like poverty, health condition, and all of that. Like one day, hopefully, I can be able to go into the history about it, get into more depth and detail. Um, about the Mississippi Delta and just the state of Mississippi alone. So yeah. But anyways, let me continue because I don't want to take up too much time on here. All right. Where do I want to go? So let me go on. Let me skip down. On September the 1st, 1945, Kappa Alpha established the National Health Office in New York City. The National Health Office coordinated activities with local chapters and worked with the ACHC to promote health initiatives before Congress increased the number of student nurses and improved the state of health programs at historically Black colleges and universities. The National Health Office was dissolved in 1951 as its goals were incorporated into the Sorority's international program. All right, so it goes on to say throughout the 1950s, 1960s, 70s, members helped to sponsor job training, reading, enrichment, heritage, and youth programs by encouraging youth to improve math, science, reading skills. The sorority continue a legacy of community service and pledge to enrich the lives of others. Financially, Alpha Kappa Alpha expanded funding for projects in 1953 through the creation and trademark of a fashion show called Fashionita. Politically, ACHR continued lobbying for equality concerning civil rights during the 1950s and 1960s. According to Kohler Thomas, the ACHR drew attention to legislation concerning education, transportation, employment, and improving equality in the armed forces and public places. The ACHR participated in filing civil rights cases in amicus curiae with Bolin versus Sharp in 1954, Brown versus Board of Education. However, as a whole, ACHR voted to dissolve operation in 1963. So let's look at what ACHR stands for. All right, so it stands for the American Council on Human Rights. All right, and that's the Alpha Kappa Alpha. They established that in 1945. Okay. Let's also go back up a little bit. So it says, also led by incorporator Norma Elizabeth Boyd, the sorority created the National Nonpartisan Lobby on Civil and Democratic Rights in 1938. Okay. It later renamed the National Nonpartisan Council on Public Affairs. It was the first full-time congressional lobby for minority groups' civil rights. So they was really putting in some work for real. And it says the Kappa Alpha was the first sorority to apply for life membership in the NAACP. They were really putting in some work for real. They was really about something. All right. And it says the Kappa Alpha continued programs for inner city youth by capitalizing on public gains in the White House. On August 20th, 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Economic Opportunity Act, which allowed the creation of the Job Corps. The sorority wanted to operate a job training center for students, led by President Julia Purnell, aka negotiated with the Office of Economic Opportunity to operate a women's center from the October of 1964 to January 1965. Kappa Alpha was awarded a $4 million grant, which is equivalent now today of $32.5 million in 2019 to operate the Cleveland Job Corps on the February 12, 1965, becoming the first sorority to operate a federal job training center. February in 1965, the Cleveland Job Corps trained female high school dropouts aged 16 to 21 with job and educational skills. In 1976, the Cleveland Job Corps accepted males. The sorority operated the Cleveland Job Corps until 1995. Yeah, these women were putting in some work. Okay, they were serious. They let it be known that we're going to put some job corps here. We're going to put some healthcare facility here. We really going to put in a lot of work. They had their foot in the ground. So, for those of you that went to job corps, okay, that, you know, if you dropped out of school and you went there to get your GD and all that stuff, you want to thank the sorority because they made that possible. Okay, they made it possible. All right, they put their foot down and they let it be known that this is what they wanted to do. So they pushed the effort, they pushed the envelope on that. So when you see one of your AKA sister, tell them thank you for the work they have done, especially with Job Corps. And also tell them thank you for their part in the civil rights. You know, give thanks to all the sorority and fraternity, but, you know, you really want to give thanks to the Kappa Alpha because they really put their foot in the grain. Like, they really made the effort. They made it happen. They really did. So, shout out to them. Shout out to those sisters. All right. But anyways, let's go on down. All right. The sorority educated the community through highlights the accomplishment of noble individuals by publishing the Harris series between the 1968 and 1972. These pamphlets were a series of biographies of top African-American women. Altogether, the entire collection contains women in judiciary, women in politics, women in medicine, women in business, women in dentistry. Kappa Alpha also donated $20,000 for preserving Martin Luther King's Jr. birthplace in Atlanta, Georgia in the early 70s. Wow. So they even donated $20,000 to preserve his birthplace. But as of right now, since we're talking about on King Day, first and foremost, I want to say happy birthday to the late Dr. Martin Luther King. This is his birthday. This is the day that he was born. There is some issues going on with the housing, with his home, the place that he grew up in. So they're looking to sell the home from what I read the last time. That's the family. They want to sell the property. So there's some people that's trying to fight it, keep it there because it's been there for the longest. I remember I went there on the field trip as a child to look at his birth home. So his birth home centered like around the district, well, not in the district of downtown, but like on the eastern part of downtown. So going towards, I'm trying to think, like going towards Auburn Avenue area. So that's where his birth home is at, like up in that area. It's still there, but they're contemplating on selling it. So yeah, unfortunately, and they selling it up for millions. Yeah, they're trying to sell his birthplace. But yeah, shout out to the sorority for that. Oh, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. I know they'll be proud. I know. I done had some sisters on here that's from the one of the sororities. They came on here and told me thank you for posting up information about them. I'm trying to think which one was it. I think it was Sigma Gamma Rho. Yeah, one of the sisters from Sigma Gamma Rho told me that they appreciate the information, while others tried to, I guess, tried to call themselves criticizing me for it, but it's all good though. You know how the critics go. But I appreciate that, Anthony. And I think they would appreciate it too. Yeah, I think they would though. So yes, it is. It's being gentrified. Yes, it is. So that's one of the reasons why they're trying to sell the home. And I think the family members are doing it because they don't have the money to keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to really keep up those type of properties. So they're looking to sell it. So and it's going up for like some millions. Yeah, it's going up for some millions dollars. Yep. So yeah, they gentrifying that area, you know what I mean? So they're really like building it up to be more extravagant, like, you know, more upper class area. Yeah. So since Atlanta got its popularity, yeah, that's what they're doing. And which is sad. It's sad for us because, you know, this Atlanta is the birthplace of Dr. King, and for his home to be sold, it's just really sad, but it happens, you know. I mean, it ain't no surprise because they done did that to a lot of historical sites, you know what I mean? So like where the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is today, that used to be a African American church that was founded by the former enslaved Africans. They founded that church. It was called Freedman Baptist Church, and it was right there in that area. It's been there for the longest. But when they wanted to put the Mercedes-Benz Stadium right there, they had to sell the building. Of course, I don't think they wanted to do it, but they had to. So they sold the building and they went elsewhere. But what's interesting about it is getting off the topic a little bit. But what's interesting about that church that was over in that area, Freedman Baptist Church, is it was where Spelman College, which is the all women college, which is the HBCU, it was founded inside that church. It was founded in the basement of that church. It was a college for those who wanted to go to school to become a minister and pastor. It was a school of theology, a seminary school at the time. So it was founded right there in the basement of Freedman Baptist Church. And then from there, they started to have their own building. But yeah, Freedman Baptist Church has a lot of foundation in history, and that area was a historical site. But again, you know, when it comes to wealth and it comes to money and you want to build more money, you're going to do whatever you can. So even if that means to get rid of some historical monuments or historical sites and stuff like that, that's what you're going to do. So in the game of capitalism, it's also about being selfish. Yeah, it's about being selfish too. You know what I'm saying? People are going to be selfish when it comes to capitalism. So they looking to get their spot, and they're going to take over what belongs to them. You know how the game goes. Yep. That's right. Yep, that's what happens to people that lacks wealth. You're right. That's what happens. But anyways, getting back to the article. So where did I stop at? Yeah, so in 1978, during the sorority's 17th anniversary or 70th anniversary, the memorial window at Howard University was dedicated to the founders of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Surviving founders Lavanna Norman and Norman Board attended to the celebration of unveiling the memorial window designed by Lois Malu Jones. Okay. All right, so here it is. Bridging towards the 21st century, 1980 to 2007. All right, so soon after the sorority 70th, 50th anniversary, Alpha Kappa Alpha contribute funds to decrease Africans' poverty with the establishment of African Village Development Program as a conjoint program with Africare. The sorority sought to decrease poverty in African villages. In collaboration with the International Foundation for Education and Self-Help, the sorority built 10 schools in South Africa after apartheid ended, and it donated computer technology to the region. Throughout the 1990s, the sorority continued to provide after-school mentoring programs such as On Track. On Track is an acronym which stands for Organizing, Nurturing, Team Building, Respecting, Achieving, Counseling, and Knowing. Was designed to help the progress of 20,000 third graders who were at risk of failing their education. Sponsored by Daimler Chrysler, On Track was designed to improve communication, academics, physical and emotional health, peer leadership, etiquette, and interpersonal relationships. In addition, programs such as the Ivy League Reading Academy and Young Authors Program improved elementary reading comprehension skills, while PIMS highlights programs in math and science. All right, then. So right here, going down to where it says sorority responded to the call for help in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina by raising money for a disaster relief fund. In July of 2007, through Habitat for Humanity, the sorority helped build a house in New Orleans for a family that survived Hurricane Katrina. All right. Also here, it says that in addition to educational program, Alpha Kappa Alpha contributes to drawing awareness to health-related issues such as AIDS, sickle cells, anemia, breast cancer, and the importance of staying in shape. Recently, the sorority has supported the effort of Justice for the Gina 6. Also, the sorority connects to past by partnering with African ancestry. That's interesting. Sorority members may use African ancestry's DNA to find geological data for themselves and their families. The purpose of the partnership is to help members trace family connection through the world, as well as in Africa, to embrace African American culture and the larger community. That's cool. All right. All right, so this is the AKS Centennial Museum at Walter E. Washington Convention Center. All right. So the Alpha Kappa celebrated its centenary with a year-long commemoration in 2008. The celebration coincided with the sorority's biennial Boule. The internationally, some Alpha Kappa Alpha members began marketing the festivity by making a pilgrimage to Howard University from January 12th to January 15th, 2008. All right, and the activities included sorority members financially donated $1 million in scholarship funds to Howard University, contributing libraries for middle school and mathematics and science, and Ashbury dwelling for senior citizens, and unveiling a digital version of the entire Ivy Leaf publication. In addition, sorority undergraduate and graduate members who were not available to attend ceremony in Washington, D.C. held celebration in local cities. All right, so on July 17, 2008, Alpha Kappa Alpha set a Guinness World Record when 16,206 members set a record by having the largest ever silver service sit-down dinner in a convention. Wow, that's a lot of them. Yep. And here it is, says Alpha Kappa Alpha's accomplishment were heralded by the United States Congress with U.S. Senator Hillary Clinton and sorority member U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, right, who both agreed to pass legislation in both houses of the United States Congress to commemorate the sorority founding. In addition, the toy company Mattel designed a Barbie collectible doll fashion with a pink and green evening gown. How beautiful. All right, so here's the lawsuit. Lawsuit, forensic audits, and IRS review of former president. On June 20th, 2009, 8 Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority members filed a complaint in D.C. Superior Court demanding that the international president, Barbara McKenzie, be fired. Be fired for improper use of sorority funds and the money be returned to the sorority. The lawsuit claimed that Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated executive board approved the spending of substantial amounts on McKenzie cost of living, including commissioning an expensive wax model of McKenzie, which cost $900,000. In response, McKenzie denied the allegation, described them as without merit. The membership of the 8 AKAs who filed the complaint were revoked by the sorority in retaliation for the lawsuit, but later forced to be reinstated by a judge. And in February of 2010, the Superior Court of the District of Columbia dismissed the lawsuit. On August 18, 2011, the District of Columbia Court of Appeals reversed the previous decision. On March 22nd, 2012, a forensic audit of Alpha Kappa Alpha's 2010 financial records revealed troubling concern with past President Barbara McKenzie's development and access to a secret bank account. The audit of the sorority led to findings that support the claims in the previous lawsuit. The audit also found two former officials continue to use sorority credit cards after their service ended. Failing to appropriately documented charges. Another lawsuit against the organization, the former president McKenzie had other officials contained similar allegations. The audit found that McKenzie and the other officials secretly created a second set of financial books to get around the sorority's accounting policies. According to the audit, nearly $1.7 million in payments were made to the former president, Barbara McKenzie, without authorization. Approximately $282,000 in credit card charges on a second set of books appeared to be fraudulent, including personal charges the sorority wasn't reimbursed for. The sorority later expelled McKenzie, won an arbitration award of $1.6 million against her, which as of January 2017 was challenged by McKenzie in court. This is why you don't trust some people in leadership. Certain people just don't need to be in position of power. And some want to be there because they know that they have the leverage and opportunity to get access to money. So once they get access to money, they're going to spend it on themselves. And they'll try to cover up and act as if the money was not for them, but it was for the organization. So there's a lot of people that do that. You have to be careful with those, especially in the position of power. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the main people that you have to look at when somebody that's in the organization that's that's over the organization is the one that you have to really keep a close eye on, not just the members, because the member tends to be the victim of the individual who is in leadership. So you have to keep the eye on the leadership and see how they move, because they the one that have the most access and they have the more leverage. All right. Boy. And let's talk about hazing. Uh-oh. Here come the hazing. See, the hazing don't stop. See, come with goodness comes with trouble. Sigma chapter hazing death lawsuit. On September the 9th of 2002, Kristen High, 22, and Kenthia Safir, 24, from California State University, Los Angeles, died following an illegal hazing activity. The women were instructed by members of the Alpha Kappa Alpha to perform a series of activity blindfolded on Dock Weller State Beach when a high tide came and eventually drowned both of them. The next day, when the women brought Kristen's car and cell phone to her mother, she knows her pledge journal missing from the car and numbers deleted from her cell phone. Prior to Kristen's death, Kristen's mother encouraged her to fully disassociate herself with the sorority after Kristen discussed inappropriate behavior by members of the AKA. A year after the incident, the families of the deceased settled with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated after filing a $100 million civil wrongful death lawsuit. The sorority denied having an active chapter at SCULA, which is California State University, LA, but this was dismissed by the court, which found the sorority accountable for the deaths. No criminal charges were filed. The SCULA chapter had previously been sanctioned for hazing, and the sorority permanently expelled all members involved with this lawsuit. See, I don't know what's going on with these people. See, this is one of the reasons why I'm glad I didn't join the sorority. This is one of the reasons why. I mean, as much as great things come along and benefits, but you got people that want to do conniving things and that get you to put yourself at risk or do things against your own will just so it can benefit them and just so you can prove your loyalty and show your interest into some organization. That's why I did not want to. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to join. Because if I had to go through the process where one of these bitches try to haze me, it's going to be life or death for somebody. And I'm just saying, bitch, you're not going to get me do some fucked up shit, especially that's going to put me in danger. I'm going to make sure your ass going with me. That's for sure. But yes, be careful. If you're a young college student and you're looking to join a fraternity or sorority, please be careful, be mindful, ask some questions. Ask questions before you jump in. Do your research before you jump in. Don't just jump in there because somebody just said, hey, you need to just go try this one out. You need to go investigate first. You always investigate on any organization that you're looking to join. Always do some research, ask some questions. Don't ever be afraid of doing it because you only can find the answers by doing so. You know what I'm saying? Be wise. It's all I'm saying. Now let's look at the Alpha Beta chapter prostitution investigation. Oh God. In May of 2018, the Alpha Beta chapter at Fort Valley State University was placed under investigation by the University System of Georgia and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation due to compelling allegation that the chapter's former graduate advisor and the executive assistant to the university president, Alicia Johnson, instructed low-income prospective members to have sex with random affluent men in Georgia to cover approximately $1,500 in membership intake fees. Johnson resigned from her position at the university and hired legal representation to contest the allegation. In 2018, 6 of the 7 individuals involved in the prostitution ring turned themselves into the authorities. In June of 2019, Johnson pleaded guilty to prostituting herself. Woo! And FVSU students, which is Fort Valley State University, also part of her plea deal. She testified against the men charged in the prostitution ring. Her plea deal resulted in her getting 5 years of probation and 180 days of house arrest and a $1,000 fine, aka internal investigation into the matter was completed with the chapter remaining in good standing with the sorority's highest leadership. How sad. You know what? If I gotta prostitute myself just so I can pay for my membership fee, I'm not finna do it. I don't even want to join it. I don't even want to join it. I don't even want to be a part of it. Here, you can have it. Thank you for the invite, but no, I'm not finna do that. So Gamma Chi chapter, suicide lawsuit. All right, so I have an article here that's in relation to what happened to this young lady. Okay, it says in a 2019 lawsuit filed. Okay, you have a good one, Mr. Anthony. In a 2000 lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court of Illinois, the family of Jordan Hankins blames Kappa Alpha Inc. for her 2017 suicide. Hankins was a sophomore basketball player at Northwestern University while pledging the sorority, and while pledging, Hankins was subject to physical abuse, including paddling, verbal abuse, mental abuse, financial exploitation, sleep deprivation, items being thrown and dumped on her, and other forms of hazing intending to humiliate and demean her. According to the lawsuit, an official statement from Kappa Alpha Incorporation say the sorority is deeply saddened by Hankins' death and declined to comment on the detail of the complaint her suicide due to the sensitive nature of the incident and the ongoing grief her family is experiencing. All right. So there's a lot more information on here that I'll be reading all day long. So here's the region. The Boule is the regulated institute of the sorority and currently meets every 2 years. Throughout the years, notable individuals such as civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. and Roy Wilkins were speakers at the past Boule conferences. All right. So it says, after the establishment of 32 graduate and undergraduate chapters in 1924, Kappa Alpha sorority organized chapters according to their regions in the United States and abroad. The Boule determines the boundaries of the regions. The 10 regions are each led by a regional director, where she serves a member of the sorority's board of directors. In addition to serving on the sorority boards of directors, the regional director also follows guidelines, programs, targets set by the international president, as well as procedure. Also, 2/3 of the sororities regional directors have been elected as international president. All right. And so here's all the list of things they have done. See, it's a lot of information into the AKAs that I can't really go into details about. But Here go the Ivory Acres. Ivory Acres will be a retirement center located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The retirement center is sponsored by Senior Residents, incorporated on subsidiary Kappa Alpha Sorority. Ivy Acres will be one of the first retirement centers founded by African Americans and minorities in the United States. It will offer assisted or individual living for individuals who are 55, regardless of background, ethnicity, or religion. Barbara K. Phillips, former vice president and president coordinator for Senior Residents Incorporated, explains the purpose of the Ivy Acres. We determined that there is a need out there, but this will be open to all. We want to be diverse. We want to be multicultural. Anyone who wants to come will be welcome. The gated community will be located on a 48 acres site. The planning for Ivy Acres costs approximately US $32 million. In addition, according to Business Wire, Ivy Acres will comprise 188 independent residential units, which will be both apartments and cottage, 40 assisted living apartments, and 20 private accommodation for skilled nursing care. Residents are expected to pay $1,890 to $2,890 per month for services. Okay. All right. And so there's a list of notable members. Here are the list of people that is in the AK. And have y'all noticed this lady right here, Kamala Harris, who is your vice president or soon to be vice president? She is part of the AKA organization. Yeah, she's part of the AKA organization. She's your vice president. So if y'all want to look up more information about the AKA, you can go down here. Here's the reference. Here's the notes. Here's an external link. All that great stuff. All right. Ooh. Oops. All right. So with that being said, you guys, that's all for today. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you all appreciate that. But I really want to say this. For those who are in the sorority organization, and I want to respond in the criticism that I have received in the past when I did one of the videos on sorority. Somebody came on there and they said something about, I guess they were disappointed. They didn't like the information I posted. What I'm going to say is, I'm only posting information that comes from the websites themselves, okay? That's what I do. I research information and I deal with the literary sources, okay? Because the reason why I do literary sources versus just trying to do the PowerPoint and trying to compile information together is that way it makes it easy and accessible for individual to go look for information up and find out stuff. So no one can sit here and try to slander me and say that I tried to give out wrong information. I made up something or whatever. I can go to the source and I can point it to them. All right. So this individual was upset regarding to what was said about the Sigma Gamma Rho organization as far as hazing is concerned. Well, it's like this. If somebody did some form of hazing or any criminal activity, because that's what is considered as criminal activity, it's going to be put into the public eye. It's not going to be very secretive. It's not something that's just going to be behind closed door. It's not. It's going to be put in the public eye. So if you have an issue of people talking about those who have been hazing or the hazing event, then maybe, just maybe, there needs to be a meeting with all the members in that organization, and where it can be not disclosed to the public. Because again, once it gets in the public's eye, it's going to be in the public's eye. regardless. So you can't just sit here and just look at the good things and not just look at the bad part. You got to look at both sides. So there's always a positive and negatives to everything that's going on, especially when it comes to human being involved. There's going to be the positive and there's going to be the negatives, especially when it comes to organization, whether it be social, political, educational, financial, whatever. It's going to always be the pros and cons to everything. That's it, regardless of the fact how you might feel about it. And if you're proud of who you are, then be proud of it. But don't sit up here and try to act like people just need to cover up some things and don't need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If it's in the public's eye, it's going to be talked about. If it's accessible, it's going to be talked about. So whether it's positive or negative, it's going to be talked about. It's going to be discussed. And also what I do is I present history based on Black information, Black history, African American, those in the diaspora. That's why I do. That's the main purpose of the platform that I do, is to present information pertaining to Black history. All right. So it's not about trying to be in somebody's membership or trying to be a part of something. Okay. Because certainly I don't want to be a part of no sorority or anything like that, or any organization. I just love to look at the history of my people and what they have done, not just here in America, but throughout the diaspora. And if I can find it, then I'm going to present it, because what the problem is, we're lacking in information. We're lacking in scholarship. All right. We only have limitation of information that is presented when it comes to us. So, and with that being said, there's plethora of sources out here, but it just had to take the initiative of individuals to go and find what they look and put it into the forefront and share the information to others who may want to learn. So again, I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please share the video, hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and all that great stuff. Until then, you guys have a good one, and I'll reconnect with y'all later. So peace and power be upon all of you. Thank you so much. All right, take it easy. And this your girl Tiffany, and I'm out.